Good morning. Oh no, y'all are like about a 5. I need y'all at least at like an 8. And so when I say good morning, y'all say, "What's up, Kahn?" Good morning.
What's up, Kahn?
Good morning.
What's up, Kahn?
All right, I gotta say this. The only thing I have control over is my position. In school, it translates the same way. No, you ain't gotta say that part. But it translates the same. The only thing you have control over in school is one, studying, doing your homework, doing all your classwork. If you put yourself in the best position, you probably won't have to worry about the grades you're gonna get, because that's actually what you have control over. You can't physically make a teacher give you an A. You can't make her give you a B. But if you do all the things to put yourself in that best position, there's a good chance that may happen for you. I want y'all to say this with me. I will not be defined by the bad things I've went through. Y'all, sometimes things happen that we have no control over, and we go through things that weren't our faults. You know, I'm sure everybody in here has had something they've had to deal with, or know somebody that's dealt with things that they were put in situations they didn't ask to be in. About some things I went through. When I was a year and a half old, I was 15 months. It was October 1977. And for whatever reason, my father decided to kill my mother and kill himself. He beat my mother to death, and then 2 days later, he shot himself in the chest at the same house. Neither one of these things were my fault. I was a year and a half old. It's just something, unfortunately, that I had to go through. Now, I was raised with my grandparents, who did a very, very, very good job. And as I've gotten older, I've understand how good a job that was, because at that time, when my parents passed, there was one main thing they didn't want to happen. They didn't want me growing up with people making excuses for me. This is something I want everybody, I'm sure y'all can relate to. Everybody say, life is about options.
Life is about
No, say it louder, say it louder. Life is about options.
Life is about options.
All right, how many people here want to go to college? All right, now I'm gonna tell you, again, another personal story. I graduated high school with a 2.0 overall for 4 years of high school. I was the C student. I did just enough to get by. I did just enough to stay off punishment, just enough to keep my video games at home, just enough to stay outside past the street lights. I was a C student. So when I graduated high school, I had 0 options. I got accepted into like 0 schools, like Wayne County Community and Oakland County Community. Why? Because I was a C. I basically eliminated all my options. I put myself in a position where I was filling out these college applications to Western, to Eastern, to Michigan State, and all I was getting was rejection letters. And it was basically my fault, because I put myself in a bad position and I eliminated pretty much all my options. Now, once I got to college, and I got to figuring out kind of what I wanted to do, I discovered I love photography. I discovered I love writing. And I started putting myself in position to do those things. I was fortunate to start my own business. Because again, you want all these things to be on the table. When you walk out into the real world after college, you say, hey, okay, either I can find me a great paying job, or hey, I may want to start my own business. These are all options. Because the end outcome to options is money, right? Everybody wants money, right? Everybody wants to have a life in which you say, hey, I can go where I want to go and buy what I want to buy. But you got to do all the things I previously said first. You got to put yourself in good position. Don't let the bad things you went through when you were younger define you. And that, in turn, will open up all options. Chances that they didn't have nothing to do with. And that's kind of how I got started. Anybody else? A young person, who's here had to make decisions because of peer pressure? Like somebody tried to get y'all to do something before. Y'all could be honest. Something y'all didn't want to do. Okay. I'm glad for those show that I'm fairly certain at some point everybody has had to deal with it. And the one thing you're going to learn early on is that people, especially your peers and your friends, the earlier and stronger you stand up for yourself, a lot of times people leave you alone. You know, and you got to understand to make your own decisions. Putting yourself in position is part of believing in yourself and make your own decisions. You can't always go along with the crew or go along with what everybody else is doing, especially when you know I shouldn't be going along with that. You got to believe in yourself. I always tell, I have 4 kids, 19, 15, 8, and 13. And when any of their goals, the one thing I always say, everybody here, if you didn't make the team, you didn't make the grade, maybe you let somebody else talk you into getting in trouble. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, did I do everything I could have done to avoid putting myself in that situation? Did I do everything I could have done to get an A, to get a B, to make that team, to stay out of trouble? That's something only you can answer. You have to answer that. And so when other people, whether it's peers, sometimes it's your own family tries to get you in trouble. And that's the hardest one because you feel like you don't want to let your family down, and their family, there's this sense of obligation. Or sometimes, I'm gonna tell you something else. You will meet people that are bad people, and a lot of times bad people do good things for you. Just in peer pressure, you gotta keep doing it. Any of the guys here ever work out, go to the gym and lift weights at all? All right, you lift weights to do what? You're stronger. All right, you gotta look at peer pressure like a muscle. The more you resist it and the more you do it, the stronger you get.